Okay, so just get yourself ready for sitting in cross legs. So sit yourself on your lift and then just come into a comfortable and even cross leg position. So just feel that you're sitting evenly to start off with. And evenness doesn't necessarily, often we just think, right, yeah, that'll do. But then after a couple of moments, we realize, oh, actually, I'm sitting in a really odd position. Maybe not this odd, but it might, you suddenly realize that you're sitting really unevenly. This cushion that I sit on is full of, it's probably like buckwheat or something, but it's like a bean baggy type thing. And so that I can kind of mold that into position so that I sit, so I feel like I'm sitting level. Also, my floors aren't very level in here. So, this is helpful for that as well, so that you can kind of feel gravitationally level. However, sometimes you need to, even with kind of assistive cushions, you might need to just roll over and move the buttock flesh out to the side. So just hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. Just endeavor to really elevate the front chest and then draw your shoulders down away from your ears. So especially if you're tired, this first lift of the chest is a little bit of a revelation for your energy. It suddenly gives you a sense of openness and of purpose. And when the chest is lifted, then it becomes possible to breathe evenly, to breathe in through the nose if you can. Fill in the lungs at the bottom, from the bottom to the top, and then emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters. And then keeping the chest lifted, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms in front of you, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows so that the arms aren't kind of clamped into the body, they extend away. So there's space between your hands and your chest. So you don't need to clamp in. There's space to be found when you bring your hands into Namaste. Just lift the chest and draw your shoulders down away from your ears, elevating the neck up to the ceiling. Look down at the floor. Look at something that's not moving. And then with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Just observing the 4 stages of the breath, the in-breath, that pause at the end of the in-breath before the out-breath. And then that pause at the end of the out breath before the in breath. Just observing that there are 3 stages of each individual stage of the breath. The beginning of the breath, the middle of the breath, and the end of the breath. And trying to make each stage of that breath, the beginning, the middle, and the end, even, so that there's no strain at the end of the breath. The end of the breath is as strong as the middle of the breath and the beginning of the breath. So it doesn't decrescendo, it crescendos and then finds its level. Gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something, someone, or somewhere. Hold on to the feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just hold on to your knees, lift and open the chest. Again, elevating the chest upwards. Staying conscious of those 3 stages of the breath. And then turn with the exhalation, drawing the abdomen across, the ribs across, the shoulders across. Just listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Come back to the center. Hold onto your knees. Take a deep inhalation. And then turn to the left, drawing the abdomen across. Drawing the abdomen across from the left, from the right to the left. Just staying observant of the breath. And then come back to the center. Just come off your lift and then just sit on your heels for a moment. So the big toes are together, your knees are apart, just in preparation for Adho Mukha Virabhadrasana. But we're going to go back. So a kind of a Paryankasana variation. Have the fingertips pointing forwards, and then just make sure that you're in a good straight line. push the palms into the floor. So at first, you'll think your heels of your hands will want to go onto the floor, but the palms of the hands won't. So lengthen the finger knuckles from the palms of the hands, lengthen into the fingertips, press the palms deeply into the floor, and then notice how much space you get in the chest. And then lift from the wrists up into the armpits. Draw your head back. Now you might want to just stay at this stage. If you want to go a little further, then you can turn your tailbone inwards, lift the tailbone up, and then reach the head behind you. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then come down onto the seat bones. So you might want to just do that again, or you might want to come down onto your elbows. Just grip the sides of your mat. Push the elbows into the floor, lift and open the chest, draw the head back. Again, you might want to just stay there, or you might want to lift the tailbone up off the floor. Breathing evenly. And then lifting with the chest first. Just come back all the way up into a seated position. Just sitting back on your heels. And then lift the chest, drive the front chest upwards, maintain that connection between the seat bones and the heels, and then stretch your arms forwards. Keeping the seat bones in connection with the heels, keeping the chest lifted, and then come down onto your forehead. Just breathing evenly, trying to keep the seat bones hitting down on the heels. Just listen to the sound of the breath. So observe that when you come forwards, that the middle to the end of the breath becomes restricted. So try and bring the breath up from the abdomen into the lungs, into that pranic breath. So also you can breathe into the back. So breathe horizontally into the back chest, almost allowing the shoulder blades to bulge outwards. Breathe first across the shoulder blade region to the armpits, and then exhale, relax in that area, and then breathe into the middle of the back. Breathe in horizontally outwards to the ribs, and then relax. And then breathe down into the small of the back and into the hips. From the center of the spine, broadening outwards to the hips. Just do that one step at a time. From the top of the back, the middle of the back, and the lower back. Just see if you can breathe into the back. And then come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. Straighten your legs after keeping them bent for a while, just to draw the shoulder blade region in. So we were just breathing into the shoulder blade region. So that's a good region to breathe into, because we often neglect that region. but we want to draw the shoulder blades in rather than allow them to bulge outwards. Straighten your legs and then incorporate that back breathing again, but try not to bulge your shoulder blades outwards. But encourage that breath to draw into the back chest. So inevitably, when you breathe into the shoulder blade region, it will kind of expand outwards slightly. But as you exhale, allow those shoulder blades to move back into the front chest. Bring the breath back into a normal rhythm. Swing the hips forwards. Keep your hands where they are. Keep your feet where they are. And come up into dog, up. Push into your heels. Broaden the abdomen. Lengthen the abdomen up to the diaphragm, up to the collarbone. Turn the crease of the elbows to face the front. Broaden the collarbone and the diaphragm region and the abdomen. Keep the palms flat on the floor like they were in that Paryankasana variation. And then come back up. Go back to that back breathing. And then breathe in normally, swing the hips forwards, come back up into dog up. Keeping pushing the heels away as much as you can so that then you can really broaden the abdomen. Lift and open the chest. And then come back up into dog down. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Just grab your blocks for half uttanasana. And then just come up into a standing position. Have your feet as wide apart as your mat, toes turning inwards. Excuse me. And then lift your chest, drive the chest upwards. So lift from the abdomen up to the diaphragm. So you really broaden the abdomen up into the ribs, up into the chest. Now that can make you do this kind of banana shape. So this lift from here to here, also counter that with these ribs that draw back towards the spine. Lift and open the chest. And then raise your arms up. Bring the hands forwards and then hinge at the hips. Find the blocks. Charge up the legs. Tightening the kneecaps, lifting the thighs, turning the thighs inwards, lifting the seat bones up towards the ceiling. And then projecting the chin and the chest forwards. Let's go back to that 3-stage breath, just observing the breath. If you can go down a little lower, then do. Just observe the breath as the lungs fill. Observe the breath as the lungs empty. Go down to the floor if you can. Feel that there's extension in the legs. Just spend some time in the feet and observe where your weight is in your feet. Is it in the front of the foot, or is it in the back of the foot? So you have to hit the shins back to bring your weight into your heels. So we don't just come into the pose and we just naturally get it right. We observe and then we correct. Because it's just creating this alert state that allows us then to move into our active state. But without that first sharpening of our observation, without that, then there's no progression. So it's just the fact of drawing our attention inwards. This is a pose we've done hundreds, thousands of times together, but have we drawn our attention into the sensations of the physical body, of the muscle, of the ligament, of the bone, of the flesh and of the skin? If you can draw yourself in, holding onto the backs of your heels, drawing the body in through between the legs. But observe, find that sense of mental integration, where the body becomes the planet. Where the body becomes connected to the planet and part of the planet, part of the universe. Because without those energizing compounds of the air that we breathe that percolates into the lining of the lungs and moves into the blood, there would be no life. And so every breath that we take is wholly dependent on the planet inside us and around us. Bring your hands back to the center, just stretching forwards again in half uttanasana, and then just come back up into tadasana, and then lift and open the chest. Just breathe evenly and deeply. Listen to the sound of the breath. So move your blocks if they're still there and just come into tadasana. Bring your arms out nice and wide. Bring your hands into the chest and then step or jump your feet apart. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, and then bring the chest to face the front. Bring the chest and the abdomen to face the front. Spread your toes. Turn the legs outwards so that the outer edge of the foot becomes connected to the ground. And then reach over. Find the shin. Turn the chest and look upwards. So just spend a little time in your trikonasana, just feeling the sensations of the pose. Often we feel more sensation in the front leg than in the back leg. So can you activate that back leg more so that that sensation becomes more even? Breathe evenly. Breathe gently, observing those 3 stages of breath. What's happening in the calf muscle? You drawing the calf muscle into the bone and up towards the back of the knee. Reach up, come back to the center. Just swap, release your arms, swap your feet around, turn your right toes in, your left leg and foot all the way out, just remembering your alignment for you, using a chair if you need it. Turning these legs outwards, lifting the chest and turning the chest to face the front. Extend your arms outwards and then reach down, find the shin. Just breathing evenly and deeply, just looking down to the bottom foot and then squeezing the front leg buttock bone forwards a little, turning the chest a little more. Just be observant of the sensations of the pose. Observe how trikonasana, for some reason, opens up the sinuses, clears blocked sinuses. Reach the top hand down to the front, to the side of the left foot, bring the left hand onto the outside of that foot, turn the back leg in, and then step your feet back, and then come back into dog down. Just observe if there is any difference in the feeling of the pose. Maintain the alertness to become observant and become a noter of change. Maybe your dog down feels a little lighter. So that alertness, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. That alertness comes not just in the physical body, but in the breath. We become alert to the breath. Just breathe evenly. Feel how your energy has rised or risen from the feet into the legs, into the chest, into the arms, into the neck, and into the head. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet apart. Turn the palms upwards and then raise your arms up in Virabhadrasana, reaching up. And then turn the left toes in really steeply as you can, and then rotate on the back foot. Turn that back foot outwards. Now at this stage, especially when your arms are high, you find that the back leg hip gets stuck. So pick up the heel of that back foot and then turn the heel outwards. So this, your point is pointing in the same direction as the front knee, not towards it, away from it. And then reach up into the chest. Keep that back leg straight. Your heels are in line with each other. Back leg straight, and then bend the front knee. Find a right angle, reach up into the little finger side. So you stretch out the abdomen as you come down. The more you work into the fingertips, the more you broaden and lengthen the abdomen. Find that right angle. Even if the back heel lifts, keep that back leg straight. Ooh. And straighten the leg, release. Your arms come back to the center. Just feel that huge amount of energy come into the chest, into the arms and into the legs. Stretch your arms out, turn your right toes in, your left leg and foot all the way out, and then turn the back leg all the way out. Tadasanaizing that back leg, turning the thigh inwards. Turn the palms up and then reach up to the ceiling as you reach down with that bent knee. But keep lifting up into the little finger side of the hand. Find that right angle. Lift from the hips up into the armpits, broadening the abdomen and breathing. Keeping that back leg straight. Lifting up into the chest, not allowing the chest to draw down. Lift up the front chest, down the back chest. Breathe in evenly, being observant of those 3 stages of the breath. Come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, step the feet back together, and then come back into Tadasana. Just observe the warmth in the body, the energy that you have created. Just bring your feet apart, hip width apart, turn your toes in, raise your arms up, use supports. So just come halfway down, putting your hands on the wall or on the top of the table if you've got a bad back. Otherwise, just bring fingers around the outsides of the elbows and then extend the front chest forwards, lengthening down into the floor, picking the hip, lifting from the heels into the calves, into the knees, into the thighs, into the hips, into the seat bones. All while pushing the fronts of the legs in towards the backs of the legs. And that pushing forwards from the front to the back activates the backs of the legs even more. And then release your hands down to the floor and then come up into a standing position. Just come down onto your back, and then you can either go into supta, baddha, konasana, so coming down onto your back, soles of the feet together, knees apart, resting down like that. Or if you can, and if you feel able, go into a headstand, because headstands are kind of really particularly beneficial for if you're feeling poorly, obviously you need the energy to kind of bring yourself up into the pose. But if you've been feeling like fluey or ill, then a headstand can be really, really beneficial. If you don't want to do the full headstand, you can just do the preparation stage. So if you're doing a headstand, then just make sure that your base is secure so that your shoulders are underneath your elbows. Push the elbows into the floor and then lengthen the elbows away from, lengthen the little finger side of the hands away from the elbows with the fingers clasped. And then bring the top of the head onto the floor, pushing the head into the hands, pushing the hands into the head. So that action of pushing the head into the hands into the head, gives you length immediately in the neck. And then come up onto your tiptoes, walk your toes in. So if you're using a wall, walk your back into the wall, and then raise your legs. And then activate your legs. Keep the legs firm, extending up towards the ceiling. In supta, baddha, just focus on your breath, on the sound of the breath, on filling the lungs evenly, but then also on filling the lungs into the back chest as well as the front chest. So push the air into the back chest, in the shoulder blade region, in the middle of the spine, from the center of the spine horizontally across to the outer ribs, and then releasing with the out breath, and then down into the lower spine and into the hips. So it's almost like we're doing a pranic breath, then a samanic breath, then an apanic breath. Not quite the same, but very similar. So if you're in headstand, you can breathe into the back, but try not to let that breath like puff the shoulder blades out too much, because that weakens your pose. So you've got all the time in headstand, you've got to draw your shoulder blades in towards the chest, because it's when the shoulder blades bulge outwards that it becomes really heavy on your head. That it's a really fundamental structural necessity to draw the shoulder blades in rather than let them bulge out. So if you breathe into the back chest, just keep the structure of the shoulder blades drawing in. So we often breathe into the front chest and we don't fill the lungs at the back. And so we're only really using about 60% of our lung capacity. But breathing into the back gives us a nice grounding feeling. Okay, if you're in headstand, just bring yourself down. If you're in supta baddha konasana, then draw your knees together, have your knees together and your feet apart. Just get a block where you can reach it. We're going to go up into setubandha. So pull your knees in towards your chest and then come right up onto the tops of the shoulders, really gathering the shoulder blades together. Put the block into tailbone region. If you're not doing setubandha today, you can do viparita karani. So just press the seat bones into the floor and then lift the legs up towards the ceiling. If you could straighten your legs, do that one at a time. Just breathing evenly. Again, breathing into the back chest. It's just an effective way to maximize the capacity of the lungs. So as Ruth correctly identified at the beginning, this pose is really good for bloating. It's really good for abdominal disorders. Just maintain your focus on the sensations of the pose. Because when you draw your attention inward, then the mat becomes the world. And then we just draw our attention into this present moment. And thinking about the present moment brings solidity and grounding to our thoughts, because we can do something about now, but so often we spend our time worrying about the future or striving towards the future and burning ourselves out in order to achieve it, or dwelling on the past and dragging ourselves down into the pit of despair. But the present moment, the sensations that you feel right at this precise moment in time, are a reminder of now. They're a reminder that you are alive and breathing and experiencing the world. So feel the sensations now in order to bring the body into the present moment. Bend your knees, bring your feet underneath the knees, and then lift the seat bones up off the block. So I often have to come up onto my tiptoes in order to lift the back up off the block. Adjust your shoulders and then just draw your seat bones down onto the floor, and then pull your knees in toward your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then just rock yourself up into a seated position and just come into cross legs. Just sit yourself in cross legs for a moment, hold on to your knees. Lift and open the chest, and then turn to the right side. Just feel how this turn feels different to the last. Maybe there's more space, maybe there's more restriction. But just observe the physical sensations now, not just the really clear, obvious ones, but the sensations of the skin connecting with the air. sensations of the chest rising and lowering with the breath. The sensations of the air as it touches the nostrils, as it enters down into the throat and down into the lungs, charging up the body. Just come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest, take a deep inhalation, and then turn to the left. And again, drawing your entire focus on the physical sensations of the pose, the subtle ones, as well as the more enthusiastic ones, the ones that you have to observe keenly in order to maintain our safety. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees for a moment, lift, open the chest, just close your eyes, just feel the sensations of the body, feel how different the body feels now to how it did at the beginning of the session. Just enjoy this moment of now. Because when we fully immerse ourselves in our practice, when we draw our attention inwards and we work on our poses with concentration, then through that concentration, our practice becomes a meditation, a meditative state. Just release your knees, just bring yourself down onto the floor, just get yourself a blanket for your head. Just lay yourself down in a straight line right down the center of your mat. Make sure that it's a straight line because it will help you to relax. If you're wearing glasses, it's nice to take them off to rest the face. If there's equipment in the way, just move it out of the way. And allow the body to just release completely into the floor. Unhook the muscles of the arms and of the legs. Again, just maintaining that connection to the present moment through the sensations of the pose, through the gross sensations, as in big sensations, and the subtle sensations. Just observe if both sides of the body feel even, and if they don't, then use your breath to even that energy out. So we become our own spirit level, gauging our connection with the floor, gauging our connection with the feeling, the physical feeling and the emotional feeling of the pose. Feel the lightness of your energy rise into the top of the skin and distribute that evenly down into the tip toes, the tips of the fingers, the top of the head. So bring lightness into the brain by lifting the breath into the brain. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And then when you're ready, wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, just a grounding massage, just bringing your attention back into the physical body. And then just gently roll over onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. Stretch out the top leg and then come up into a seated position. Bring yourself into cross legs with your hands in the Namaste, just a final spinal lift, drawing your breath in through your nose. Draw the breath in through the nose and down into the abdomen. And be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. That good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the inversions, the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of the hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you have kind of inflated yourself with positive energy, giving yourself lots of good energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.